Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to the Journey Podcast. I have a very special friend in here today, my good friend Matt Pallardy. Who is actually like one of my best friends down here in San Diego. I'll give you a quick intro. When I moved back from Virginia, as most of you guys know, I used to live in San Diego, then I lived in Virginia. And when I moved back, Matt Pallardy was this new guy in town who I was like, I don't know, where'd you come from? Where this guy is? He's in everybody's DMs, and the owner of a gym here in San Diego, and apparently he had stepped in to San Diego and made a name for himself while I had left. And so when I met him, it was like, meeting this new guy in town. It was really awesome, though. We really bonded over. I don't really know what we bonded over. Just like, well, I think I bonded over him just because he was a cool guy. And I met a friend through him. His name was Wyatt Wormager, who was actually my roommate for the last couple of years. And so we've just grown, we've bonded together. But the reason why Matt is on this podcast today is because he has a very unique story about how he pretty much got to where he is today. I think he has like what you call true passive income, in which he works till maybe about 9 or 10 in the morning. And then all day he just chills at home with his family, does what he wants. He's telling me earlier that he just got out of the hot tub. And so I kind of want to share his story about how he got to that position. So Matt, thank you so much for hopping on. And why don't you give everybody a little bit of a snapshot as to like what your life looks like now and where you're at.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be on here, and I'm super excited to talk to you as always. So a snapshot of right now is I own self-made training facility in Mission Bay, and that would be considered like my main source of income. At this point, I'm there 2 to 4 hours a day. That includes my workout. I'm talking to my people, my trainers up there, and I spend a ton of time with my 11-month-old baby girl, Audrey, and my fiance, Brianna. So yeah, like Zach said, I spend most of my time with my family. It's awesome. My work is done through text message on my phone. So I work anywhere I want, essentially. And as far as self-made goes, it's not a huge time. I'm all about being proactive, which is why I run my business on text, because if I'm answering incoming phone calls all day long, then whatever I'm doing is getting cut off, and then I have to answer this thing, acting to it. Mm-hmm. And then that's going to obviously slow me down. I'm not going to be able to finish whatever task I was on nearly as fast and efficient. So efficiency is everything, in my opinion, if you really want to control your time. But yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. I mean, like Zach said, my day to day is I got up, got Audrey and I ready to go to self-made. I made my smoothie, went in there and worked out with Wyatt. Zach talked about, he around the gym. He's there more than I am right now. Wyatt's fucking awesome. Yep. If any of you guys know him, he's the man. But yeah, and I did that. Got to work out with him. Actually, 2 of my cousins just dropped out of college and drove out here to San Diego a couple weeks ago. So lifted with them as well. After that, Wyatt and I had a little lunch meeting with Audrey. This is another beauty of doing your own thing. You bring your daughter to your business meetings. And then, just got in the hot tub, just zenned it out, pure meditation in there. And here we are. So that's where I'm at now. I fucking love it. I mean, as far as like financial success is concerned, I am a tiny little drop of nothing in the ocean. As far as like what I want, I mean, I wouldn't trade my life for anybody's life. So I'm getting what I want. It's phenomenal. I'm always trying to grow, of course, in every way possible. As you grow, you're happy. You overcome challenges, makes you happy. No doubt about that. And of course, I want more money and better stuff and bigger stuff and a faster car. And I want to buy the yacht that Zach just took out over the weekend. Like, I'd love to own that. You know what I mean? But I'm willing to extend that timeline in order to make sure that I enjoy it every single day of my life, which I do. And like I said, I'm not sure anyone is doing it more. No one's enjoying their life more than me.
Absolutely, man. If I can step in, one thing I would like to say about Matt is like, he always tells people that he's the happiest person you'll ever meet. And I will say, I have never seen Matt in a bad mood. And, financial success is only one metric of success. If you were to ask me like who the wealthiest person I know is, I would say it's Matt, because, who's wealthier, the person who can wake up at 8 o'clock, take his daughter to work with them, work 2 to 4 hours a day. And, that including your workout, and then having the free time to literally do whatever you want, even if you're only making 5 to 10K per month, that's like, you have so much time to live your life. You're actually getting more life experience than the CEO who's making $1 million a year, but is on phone calls all day, stressed out, and dies at 50 years old because they're stressed out. Right. And so what I really like about you is like, you've identified what you want success to look like, and you've achieved it at a young age. You're only 32, correct?
32. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And that's absolutely incredible, because when I was young, I always thought that you had to be in an office in a 9 to 5, slaving away with the 401k. I didn't realize that you can be semi-retired, at 32, living this kind of life in your dream city. So that actually leads me to the next question that I have, or the next thing I want to talk about, because you have this life at 32, but at 29, this was not your life. And what I think is really incredible here is that this is not something that you worked for a very long time. Like for myself, being in this position, this is something that I've worked 10 years for consistently. And I've had one goal, but for you, this is kind of like a 180 in your life that you kind of just decided to take one day, and found yourself in this position 2 years later. So why don't we go back to, where you were before, like right before you got the gym, like what, tell me your story there.
Yeah, I'll bring you back a little bit. And I totally second all that stuff you were saying. Like, I obviously used to work in an office. So I used to think you had to work in an office. And I mean, I also talk about shifting goals. Like you said, I also used to focus a lot more on like my monetary goal and what I was going to get and what I was going to have. And I did shift that down to more of like, I want the time. I want to be able to do what I want to do whenever I want to do it with whoever I want to do it. That's kind of where I shifted to. But anyway, to get back a little bit on my story. So I always was really good in school. I was a good student. It came easy to me. I was good with math. I was never really very good with reading, which is funny because now I read a ton. I read all the time. I love it. Changed my life completely. But yeah, so I was good in school and good in math, and going to college was always going to happen. It was just like a no-brainer. My mom and dad were always like, you're obviously going to college. It wasn't even a question, right? So it came down to it. I went to Mizzou and I was picking out my major, and I was like, okay, I'm good with math. The highest paying undergrad right out of college. And it was mechanical engineering from Mizzou was the highest, like just undergrad paying straight out. And I was like, all right, we'll do that.
What was that pay?
Oh, like they said you'd get like 55 a year, 55 grand, something like that. And like I said, that's just your baseline undergrad coming out of there. So I was like, that's perfect. My dad's an engineer. My stepdad's an engineer. They all worked for this engineering company called Boeing, which used to be McDonnell Douglas. And then they got bought out by Boeing, and everybody worked on airplanes. So I was like, cool, I'll go. I got a mechanical engineering degree with an aerospace emphasis, because I was like, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go get this super secure job, have great benefits, work there till I die. You know what I mean? Or till I can eventually retire. And they do have a good retirement plan and all that stuff. Right. So fortunately, they weren't hiring. These companies do huge hiring sprees and huge firing sprees, depending on if they get gigantic government contracts. At the time, they weren't hiring. So I went and got another job at this little company. I actually started out just doing what a 2-year tech degree would get you. So I started out kind of in the trenches, learning how to wire. I didn't know anything about electricity. Started learning how to wire stuff up. Then I learned how to design electrical control systems, became electrical control systems engineer. And then somewhere along the way.
How old were you at this time frame?
So straight out of college, I was 22 when I got the job. And then I ended up working at that company for over 6 years. So all in all, over 10 years in engineering.
Okay. So question for you, when you got this job out of college, did you Were you like disappointed at all? Was this part of the plan? Like, what was your
It
thought
was
process?
like I thought I was going to work at Boeing the entire time I was at Mizzou, so it was a little bit disappointing. I was like, well, this wasn't the plan, but hey, I'm getting paid. Hey, I have a job. This is nice. I can pay off my debts. Then I can go buy a house. You know,
So you kind of like settled.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. 100% settled into that
Did
job.
you at this
Paying
point? I was going to say, did you think that this was going to be the trajectory of your life, settling into that job at the time?
right when I got on, no, but after a couple years, I was like, this is probably going to end up being it. So, you know, I really did think I was like, I guess I'm going to be here. There's room for growth. There's like 35 people at the company. So if we grow, I can grow with it, and I can still make good money. You know, I'm thinking I could get to six figures soon enough. And then eventually maybe even make, 150, maybe 200,000 if I can grow the company enough and help them enough. Right. And yeah, I was just like, hey, that sounds amazing. Right. Because to most people, that sounds amazing. $200,000 a year working and being an employee and essentially, having no risk, or it appearing to have no risk anyway, which everyone found out that wasn't the case last year. But anyway, yeah, that's where I was. So I went into that, moved up. And then finally I came across Andy Frisella and started listening to the Project. And that was kind of the first thing that shifted my life. Well, I guess I did get into fitness first. And that's the only reason I feel like I even accepted him. Because if he had come across the fat alcoholic Matt that was around before, fuck this guy. Like, he tells me I'm lazy. Well, I was, but I wouldn't have wanted to hear it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he came in at the perfect time. Like, everything always seems to be perfect. It's amazing how things work out like that. But anyway, started listening to his podcast and then started reading, and everything changed for me. And I was very introverted, a lot of anxiety, especially when I was younger, very anxious dude. Like, I had, bouts of depression sprinkled in there too. And was getting over all that. And then I became just so comfortable with who I was, probably because for the first time in my life, I was really choosing who I was becoming. And all of a sudden you're a lot more comfortable when you're like, hey, this is who I want to be. And then I started becoming that guy. And I'm like, fuck, I love this dude. He's awesome. Like, this is the guy I want to be. So I started getting into that. And then finally the move to San Diego was coming.
How old were you here? What was the time?
So I was 28 at this time.
For 6 years, from 22 to 28, you weren't even into fitness in that time. Like,
not until I think around 25. Was it 25 is when I started working out?
Yeah.
And then about a year later or so, a year or two years later, probably, I finally was introduced to like Andy, and honestly, the entire idea of just personal development.
Yeah.
That whole idea was introduced to me.
Yeah. Which is funny, because most people are stressing about getting their life started at 21, 22, 23, 24.
Yeah.
You didn't even start lifting until you're 25, and you were coasting. I mean, I've seen pictures. If you're listening to this on podcast, you can't see pictures, but Matt is like not the same person he was before. He was fat and like balding when he was young.
It's crazy.
It's crazy to see.
I say all the time, I literally feel like that was a different person. I feel like it all the time. Like, that guy died and I exist now.
But what's beautiful is that you coasted from 22 to 26. You pretty much coasted in life.
Yeah.
And
I was doing a little better than the people around me.
Yeah.
And I was like, perfect. That's all I need,
And at 26, you decided, okay, maybe I should change something. So like, what happened there? Because at that point, you pretty much radically changed your life for the better. So like, walk me through what happened with
No doubt. So something I haven't mentioned is, in there was a 9-year relationship and a 2-year marriage also. And I started getting into fitness right after my wedding. I think because I just saw pictures of myself. I could feel my boobs bouncing when I would run. And then I saw pictures of myself and I was like, who is this fat ass? It just triggered me finally, because I'd been an athlete my whole life, never lifted weights. So I had no muscle mass, but I was an athlete. I was always running around doing stuff. And eventually I stopped doing that, started drinking, to eat like shit. And I got fat, and I can remember times, legitimately remember times when I'd come home from work, sit on the couch, crack a beer, turn on the Cardinal game, and I was like, I don't even want to get up to take a piss. Like, I just don't want to. Too tired. Don't want to do it. So that's a place where I've been, which is crazy to think about now, obviously, because I feel like I have unlimited energy all the time.
Yeah, now you literally get up and sprint to the bathroom. I think you're the one who said, how much more efficient would the world be if everyone's full-blown sprinting?
No, that wasn't. I was there. I thought you said that.
No, I think someone said that. It was either Wyatt
or someone. But
imagine
that sounds like
full-blown sprinting everywhere they go. Now Matt just gets up and sprints to the bathroom.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, completely different in that regard. And then, yeah, I started getting into personal development, and I mean, that podcast alone just was a complete mindset shift for me. Changed everything for me. Mm-hmm. But the fact that it got me to start reading and just start like thinking bigger picture and honestly eliminating my doubts about what was possible in life, it made me realize you can literally do and be whatever you want. Because, you know, they tell you that when you're a kid, but it's kind of like at a certain age, they're kind of like, yeah, but, you know, you need to get a job.
Yep.
You know, that's eventually what it turns into. But no, you really can just do and be whatever you want, which is incredible, obviously. Very exciting thing about life. So I finally got to the point where I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from engineering to sales in my company. And so I went to the COO and I told him I had this idea. I was like, hey, I'm going to move to San Diego. I'd love to stay with the company. So how about I go out there? I work remote and I know, like, obviously, you know, I need to make a little more money because my internet keeps dropping out during this thing for Zach. So apparently I need to make more money, get better internet.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. So I just went to COO, told him I wanted to take over sales to the Rockies. Like I said, Canada down to Mexico. And he just goes, I love it. So that was a beautiful thing of always being a good employee and always trying to provide more value than I thought I was getting out of the company. Right. Because then when the time comes when I'm like, hey, I'm moving to San Diego, they're like, cool, you can stay on even though nobody works remote. Like, we want you on. This is a good idea. Mm-hmm. So I came out here, did that for a while. I realized that company did not want to grow. So I only actually got to do sales for about 4 months out of the 15 months that I was a salesperson, because I sold and then I had to go install everything. And I was like, this isn't what I wanted. It's what I wanted to get out of. So finally, I just said enough's enough. I'm quitting this job. I'm going to just do my own thing. I wasn't even certain what I was going to do yet. So what I did was I put in my 2 weeks notice, and then I went and got certified through NASM to be a personal trainer. And I was like, I'll just be a personal trainer. I can sell my own stuff. It's kind of like running your own business. Even if I work for a corporate gym, right? Because I can sell my packages. I get paid on commissions on that. Which was sort of a new concept for me, commissions, right? I hadn't been in sales very long. And then, you know, treat my clients and keep them around, you know, because if I provide a good product, they'll stick around. Well, anyway, I happened to, on my interview at Fit Athletic Downtown, which is like a bougie ass gym in San Diego. If you live here, it's really nice, honestly. I love it. It's where I worked out at the time. Well, anyway, one of the front desk girls was like, hey, well, have you ever heard of self-made? And I was like, no, what's self-made? She's like, well, you just go pay rent and then you get a key and you go whenever you want. You bring in your clients whenever you want and you just run your own training business. And I was like, well, that sounds amazing. So I went and checked out Self-Made Training Facility in Mission Bay. Again, perfection worked out for me. I happened to walk in on a day when Miguel was sitting at the front desk, which was maybe like twice a year. He happened to be sitting there. I walked in, he showed me around. And I signed my contract that night, got my key the next morning, started looking for clients. Had no clients, but I just committed to the $800 a month because I was like, yeah, I'll find clients. And this is what I want to do. So I'm going to do it.
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you go from, working your way up this company ladder. You're about 27, 20. Well, when did you move to San Diego? You were 28?
28.
Okay. 28, where most people have settled down, you pretty much decided that you're just going to start a brand new life. You're just going to
Yeah.
restart.
Yep.
And I'm assuming your relationship at this point has ended already, correct?
Yeah. So I had gotten divorced about a year. Our relationship ended a year and a half prior to my move. Yeah.
So
So
cha-
um
change change your life through fitness, ended the relationship, brand new city. You're a whole new man. You pretty much restarted your
yep.
entire life.
Yeah, me and my brother Nick had sold our houses, packed up a U-Haul, left on New Year's Day 2017. Hadn't been to San Diego in 15 years. We just showed up and moved in.
Yep. Amazing. And
Absolutely love it. But no, you're 100% right. Major
yeah,
shift in my life just coming out here, because it was already like, and then I started my LLC that's actually owned Self-Made right now. I started it February of 2017. So about a month and a half after I was here, I was like, I'm here because
you're starting a
I
business.
want to start my own business. So let's get it started. And at the time, actually, I was trying to, what it was for was an app. So I tried to create an app, and, you know, you call it failure if you want, but I call it learning a fuckload of stuff about a
Yep.
fuckload of stuff, just learning a lot about a lot, very condensed, like I never had, just those processes, whether it's like the legal side of business owning or just obviously the immense amount of obstacles where you're just like, okay, here's the next one. Here's the next one. Here's the next one. And you don't get bogged down in it. You don't worry. If you're worried, you're like, what am I worried about? Okay, I'm worried about this. What can I do about it? All right, I'm going to do that. Boom, boom, you do it. You're not worried anymore. That's how I learned to just not be stressed. If I'm stressed, it's because I'm not doing what I think I need to do, you know? So then
Absolutely,
you
man.
just go do it, and the stress.
Yep.
So anyway, I learned a ton, and I did that for, I was doing that for a while as I was still working on a couple of other businesses that didn't work out. But they all don't work. Just you know, if you have if what you're doing is not working, or you have to know if you're working the right plan or not, I guess is what it comes down to. Are you working the wrong plan, or are you working the right plan just not long enough yet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I have something to bring us back to your story,
Mm-hmm.
where you find yourself in San Diego after a relationship, quitting your job, probably living with a house full of dudes again at 28 years old, working as a personal trainer, which is, not like, it's not top of the wrong stuff, it's bottom of the wrong stuff. How did you feel about yourself and the way your life was going? Because most people will be like, I have failed. I'm a failure. They would be like, this is terrible. Like, how did you feel? Because I'm sure you were telling yourself a story.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I honestly couldn't have been more excited. I was just so excited to be doing what I wanted to do, really what felt like for the first time ever. And I knew I wasn't going to be a personal trainer forever. I just knew, like, this is a good entry point to business for sure. It's, as far as running your own business goes, personal training is fairly straightforward. You know what you need to do. As long as you can train people, you know what you need to do. You got to market, you got to sell, you're bringing people in. It's all very direct. Coming from when I used to sell and install, it was a 6 month to a year process. The sales process through installation, just massively complex. I was like, this is simple. I can do this as a one-man show, to get started. But no, I was loving it. And look, what I did as an engineer, I did, like, my parents taught me at least to, like, don't go into credit card debt, save your money, and I had a 401k, which I ended up cashing out to buy Self-Made. So it's like, it paid off, having that experience paid off and made me very much know that I never wanted to go back and work an office job. I'm like, I will do what, like, especially the life I live now. I'm like, never, no way. Absolutely not. The money is not worth it. I don't care how much, you're trying to pay me. It's not worth all of my time like that. So yeah, to continue, I was there, started training. So I never really got too deep into the training. I thought this is going to sound ridiculous, but it's the truth. So after like a month, I thought I was going to be on Big Brother TV show. Wow. I went through the phone call interview. Then we had a Zoom interview, then a second Zoom interview. And then they had me come to LA. It was like the final 40 people. And I sat in the room in the dark, and there's like 4 people back there, and the lights and the camera on me, they mic me up. And I go through the final interview, and I'm like, I got this. I got this far. I don't want to abandon my clients for 3 months while I'm out there winning Big Brother. And I'm obviously thinking, if I can just get on this show, how easy is it going to be to pull in personal training clients? Yeah. It'd be super easy, right? So didn't get on it, obviously. So I was like, oh shit, okay. Kick it back into gear. Let's start finding clients. So then I got profitable. And then almost right away after that, I heard that Self-Made was for sale. Because Miguel, the founder and CEO of all the Self-Mades, he only owned 2 at the time, but the rest of them are all franchised off. He wanted to keep the one in Temecula, and he wanted to sell this to a franchise owner because he's like, it just doesn't work unless there's somebody there that's like, this is my baby. You're going to take care of it. You're going to build it up like it's your own. So I started talking to him, and we got a deal set at the time. It was not doing well. Miguel was putting his attention and energy on his franchise owners and his home location, which makes perfect sense. He's like, look, this one doesn't do well and loses money in the meantime. It is what it is. Like, I'm focused on making sure that the people who have made a hard commitment to me are getting what they're going to get. Right. So like the franchise owner specifically. And as a trainer there, it was kind of like the Wild West, but I mean, there wasn't very many people. Like, for instance, the first month that I bought it, I collected rent December 2018. Only like 12 people paid rent, and now we're at like 44, and we've been in the 40s now most of this year, and rent's higher. But there's also a lot more there, but yeah, I knew it was struggling. So I ended up getting a good deal on it too. Cause I was like, this thing it's not making money, but it's open. So I can skip that whole process of the build out and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, ended up buying Self-Made. And then you talk about another fast learning curve. I thought I learned a lot from that other stuff. This was like, okay, every month we're losing money. I have to fill this place up. The bills aren't going anywhere. So I added like 20 trainers in the first 6 weeks because I sold it. Now, those of you that aren't familiar with Self-Made training facility and how it works, it's no members. It's just a private training facility. Trainers pay a flat rate rent, and then they bring in their clients, charge whatever they want, work whenever they want. And again, that's what I was doing as a trainer there. And you get your own key. Come and go as you please. So I'm working with entrepreneurs, which is fucking amazing. It is the best. But when I first started, I hired a lot of people that were not entrepreneurs, and they had an employee mindset. So that became a quick disaster for me because they're just expecting things to, like, I just sold it on, this is awesome. There's so much potential, so much opportunity. And I sold it, like I said. Whereas now the reviews process, because the trainers are my clients, but kind of like my employees. So it's an interesting dynamic that I really enjoy. But now I'm like almost trying to scare people away. Mm-hmm. And I'm very, very clear about what they're getting into and how hard it's going to be. Like, it's not easy just because you're here and you're at Self-Made and we're bumping and we're a brand. You still got to do your thing. This is part of your brand. So you got to work hard and you got to bring your people in, and it's a lot easier to start at 24. The next year of your life will be easier if you work at 24, mm-hmm. And I just tell them that straight up because I want them to realize that beginning is going to be harder. Once you're paying off from what you've done, then you're getting whatever you want. You're making more money. You've got more time. You're working your own hours. So if you're working too much, that's your call, then you need to be charging more money or just working less, So now I have all the right people. At first it was chaos. I had to end up firing people. I had tons of problems, tons of people complaining about everything because employees they're more of the victim mentality versus entrepreneurs are more of the, I'm going to own my shit. everything is my fault. I'm going to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people I have now. And that, to come full circle, is why when I bought it, I was there 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day. Right? And I didn't make a dime for 2 years. In fact, I lost money for most of that. And now we make money every month. I'm there 2 to 4 hours a day, including the workout, like I said, because I have the right people in place. And that's what it all comes down to. We have more systems, more people taking care of different things for me. And then people, my trainers, so my employees / customers they own their shit and they handle their business. And if they need me, they know I live in their phone. They can text me anytime. So
Beautiful.
That's how we got here.
I love it, man. I really admire your story just because it took so many 180 turns. Like, dude, you can't imagine yourself. You probably didn't imagine yourself owning a gym in San Diego when you were 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Fuck no.
Like, that's such a wild turn of events, and you're here and you're making it happen. And, you sacrificed 2 years of your life to make it work. But dude, I mean, sacrificing 2 years, I mean, you're going to be thrown around ragdolled like that in a 9 to 5 anyway, but they're going to keep you for 40 years. Whereas you can do that for yourself and have the freedom that you're living now. But there's one thing I want to talk about too. You always introduce yourself as the happiest person people will ever meet. Where does that come from? How did you develop that mindset?
That's a great question. Yeah, because it definitely was not always that way. I mean, honestly, it just came from reading a lot of books and applying. It's you have to, like, I tell people I've studied happiness. I've probably studied happiness more than I've studied anything, because I kind of had this realization that, like, happiness is an extremely high, if not the highest form of intelligence, in my opinion, because it's like, this is it. This is what we got. This is what we're doing, guys. We're living life. Be happy. Like, if you're not enjoying your life, think about that. You could always, this could be it. Today could be it. You could die at any moment. You're not guaranteed to wake up tomorrow. So being miserable, who are you helping out by being miserable? I like to be happy, and I like the people around me to be happy. And that's a good life. So I've studied a ton of it. My favorite book is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. She a thick bitch, but it's really good. And it's a book that, as you go through it, you have to take the action steps. You have to read it and do it. But I mean, there's that. I've read a lot of great books on it. Listen to podcasts, hang around happy people, talk to people that are the way you want to be. Talk to them, pick their brain, learn how they think. You know what I mean? Even just mimic them. If you can't get into their brain, see what they're doing. Try to mimic how they sit. How do they use their face? How just the things they're doing. And then you'll start to get into a state that they're in, and you can kind of learn from people that way. But yeah, I just found role models and mimicked them, and just, it became important to me. So I worked on it a shitload.
I have a question too. So you started reading, you started developing yourself personally, and you started going through this transformation. And we're talking about this happiness thing. Was there a certain moment that it clicked for you? Did you have to change your environment at all? Or were you able to achieve that mindset while still working the 9 to 5 back in St. Louis with, after your relationship? Or was it until after you moved out here and you finally molded your skin that you're able to achieve that happiness?
I would say I definitely hit a new level out here in San Diego. There's no doubt about it. I also feel like every time I think that I'm like, damn, things can't get any better, I'm like, it just keeps getting better,
Yeah.
Crazy. So just like my fitness journey, I would say it's very similar to the happiness, where little bits at a time, constant work, constant improvement, rather than just being happy with where you're at, as weird as that sounds. Because when you do make that improvement, that will make you happy too. Mm-hmm. But for me, like with the fitness side of things, I didn't like go on a meal plan. The truth is, the first thing I changed with that was, instead of eating 2 Pop-Tarts for breakfast, I would eat 1 Pop-Tart and put the other one in a Ziploc bag and eat it the next day. And then I'd go in and smash a bunch of goldfish, horrible, unhealthy sandwich, and have a pizza for dinner. But you know what? I only had 1 Pop-Tart for breakfast instead of 2.
Mhm.
And then 2 weeks later, maybe I'm eating a handful of goldfish at lunch. So on, so on, so on forever until there was no major shift. It was just always getting a little bit better. So I would say pretty similar with the happiness thing, honestly, because you could read a whole book, you pick out one thing that you can like think about and it makes you happier, puts you in a better, more positive, empowering state of mind, then you're winning. That's all you needed from that book. Even if that book gives you 1 minute of happiness, extra happiness every day, you wouldn't have. Oh, you're going to have that forever now because it's in you. It's ingrained in you now. I still think about it and work on these things, right? You can't just now throw everything out. And I can't go back to the 2 Pop-Tarts and pizza every day, and a 12-pack of beer with it. You can't go back to that stuff, but you're always building on it,
Mhm.
and I would say I definitely hit a new level when I got out here. But it's a combination of a lot of things because it seemed like I just kept getting happier and happier and things got better and better. And yeah, I mean, I say this all the time, but this has been the best year of my life so far. And I definitely said that last year as
Love it.
well.
Yeah, it's funny because happiness isn't directly correlated to what your stereotypical success looks like. I know this is the case for myself. It was a case for you, and it was also a case for someone who I interviewed in the past. His name was Greg Kerr, and literally, where most people would look at our lives and think that is rock bottom, it's probably the happiest we've ever been. When I was driving across the country with everything in my back seat, leaving San Diego to go to Virginia to live in the basement of some dude's house and share my bedroom with my best friend, I was like, this is awesome. This is the greatest adventure of like my life. And this is so much fun. And, Greg Kerr, he was literally homeless, sleeping couch to couch. But because he finally was choosing to do what he wanted to do, he was extremely happy and he was excited because he was finally investing into his fitness business. For you, leaving your entire life behind, selling your house and moving to San Diego and pretty much becoming a nobody all over again, most people will look at that and be like, that was your rock bottom. But for us, it's like, oh, dude, we like literally so much weight off of our shoulder. It feels so
Thrilling.
good.
Yes.
Those are probably the happiest moments of my life.
I love that you're saying that because doing what you want to do and not what your parents want you to do or your girlfriend wants you to do or whoever, your grandma, your aunts and uncle, whoever it is, your best friend, doing what you want to do and like momentarily disappointing this person, or at least you think you're disappointing this person that you care about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult, but you hit this breakthrough and you're like, oh my God, like that, like you said, the weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
It's indescribable, like nothing else. And yeah, my dad still works for Boeing and he's a manager now, but I mean, he's worked there his whole life and he makes good money and he's going to retire and he's going to retire soon, but he's got his house, his lake house, his cars, he's got a boat, pool, hot tub at both houses, huge dock. He's got a lot of great stuff. So it can work for you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the expectation was that's what I was going to do, but I just couldn't do the hating my day until 5 o'clock every day.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. And it's scary as fuck, but when you make that leap and you do what you want to do, like you said, it's a massive weight off your shoulders. And then you just are like, I can do this. I'm doing what I want to do. So if it doesn't work, shit, that's on me. And it's at least I tried to do what I wanted to do rather than just failing at whoever wants you to do.
Whoever wanted you. Yeah. That was a funny thing too, because my darkest moments of anxiety were when I was following the steps my parents wanted me to take for college, because I knew I would never be successful. And I was like, I'm literally I don't belong here. Like this isn't for me. And then the moment I decided that like, hey, I'm okay with being homeless as long as I'm doing what I want to do, like I was fucking stoked. Which leads me to where I kind of want to wrap up this podcast. Recently, I feel like you kind of have like a big brother moment in your life. 2 of your cousins just recently dropped out of college. They packed their bags and now they're sleeping on the floor of your gym, which is absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably looking back at like that and be like, that's exactly what I did not too long ago, about almost 5 years ago now. Like you did the same exact thing. So what advice would you give to them now? Because I spoke to them. They're like, we're out here, we're homeless, we have no idea what we're doing, but they seem so happy. So like, what are you telling them as far as, you know, big brother guidance that you're giving them that you want to share with the listeners here?
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, they know I can understand. I remember actually my cousin Jake Schwecker calling me 3 days into his college career. And he's like, hey man, I think I want to drop out. And I was like, fuck, dude, that's awesome. I was just like, that's what you want to do, man? That's fucking awesome. You're going to have to work harder. Like that was the first thing I told him too. It's like, you're going to work harder than you've ever worked. But I was like, dude, you're doing what you want to do. And he was, after that conversation, he dropped out because he was like, he had talked to his parents about it. And, you know, they're like, well, you know, it's your life. It's your decision. Do what you want. But at the same time, like, you know, well, you need to have a plan, which is good. It's good parenting. Right. Yeah. But after he talked to me, he was like, well, nobody was like, good for you. You know, I was the one who told him, good for you. Go do it. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it's awesome having them out here now that I have this experience that I've had thus far. Cause like I can take them under my wing to a degree and then just introduce them to people like you. And like they came to the party, the PTBI party. Mm-hmm. And it was incredible just to have them around so many like intelligent, successful and hardworking people that they can realize, and young, and they can realize like, shit, like I don't have to wait to do anything. I can get right after it right now. You know, it's really invaluable. You can't get that anywhere else. You know, that is a being here in San Diego. And I guess just choosing to surround yourself with those types of people like yourself. That's why I hang out with you all the time. You know, you're awesome. I've been blabbing a lot, but I mean, I guess you guys listen to this podcast already, but you guys know Zach's the shit obviously already. So
thank you.
Super proud to call you a friend as well. One of my best friends in the world. So
agreed. It goes both ways, man. Well, anything you want to wrap up here on the podcast? We are coming to a close here. So what kind of words of advice or, you know, final words would you like to leave? And then also, where can people find you online?
You can find me at Matt Pallardy, Matt_Pallardy. That's P-L-A-R-D-Y. On Instagram, that's pretty much the only way you're going to find me. And then if you can get a hold of my phone number, you can just text me. So like I said, it's the best way to get a hold of me. But yeah, final word, I would just say, every second counts of your life. And, you can either use that time to do something you enjoy and build towards something that you want. Or you can do what everybody else wants. You can do what most people do, and you can do what average people do, and you can be average. So I would encourage you to enjoy your life. Go learn some new shit, experience some new shit, because you will learn a lot. You know, have your mentors, learn from books, but you got to do stuff. When you do stuff, you learn an immense amount. But yeah, be happy. Figure out a way to be happy. Your problems aren't that bad. If you're able to listen to this podcast right now, your problems are not that bad. I promise you. You probably are not about to die because you can't get water, but there's people out there today that are dying because they can't get water. So your problems are not that bad.
I love it. Matt, thank you so much, man. We'll end the podcast here. Everyone who's listening, peace.